Hi, good afternoon. So I'd like to welcome all the participants today to this webinar. So we'll be recording this webinar and you can access that then on our social media streams. So my name is Dr. Danny Diaper. I'm the head of the Science and the Medicine pathway at the University Foundation Programme in London. So the University Foundation Programme has got over 30 years of experience of sending students from this University Foundation Programme to a large number of high-ranking universities, including Queen Mary University of London. So as you may know, Queen Mary has a medical school that's based in Malta, which is open to applications from UFP students. In fact, some of our current medical students have interviews with Queen Mary Malta in the coming weeks, and one of them's already received the offer of a place. So before I hand over to Queen Mary, I'd like to show you a brief video which tells you a little bit more about studying on the medicine pathway at the University Foundation Programme. Great. So I'm delighted to say that we've got Harry Tatnell here. He's with us from Queen Mary Malta, and he's going to lead this webinar. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, then you can type them into the chat box. Just open the chat box, type in your question, and then at the end of the presentation, we'll have a question and answer session and hopefully cover any questions that you've got. Okay, so Harry, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diaper. So, hello everyone. My name's Harry, and I'm the recruitment and admissions manager for the MBBS Malta course. And as was mentioned earlier, this is, one of your options after the University Foundation program at David Game. So, I'm going to share my screen now and show you a brief presentation all about the Malta program. Can I just check you can see that? Yeah.
It's good with me.
Great, amazing. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the MBBS Malta program. So this is a 5-year medicine course, and even though it's taught in the Mediterranean islands of Malta, it's a UK qualification, which is accepted and widely accepted in the UK. And I'll go through more progression routes afterwards. Okay, so this is the purpose-built Malta Campus, just a picture on the right-hand side here. So we're in our 4th cohort of medical students at the moment in this brand new state-of-the-art building that has purposely been built here for medical education. So I'll talk about Malta in more detail over the next few slides, but we're based on the grounds of Gozo General Hospital. So this is the main hospital on one of the Maltese islands, and this is where lots of our students spend their first initial kind of patient contacts with patients. And this medical school has a clinical simulation center, lecture suites, communication skills, kind of everything you'd expect from a state-of-the-art medicine purpose-built building. We've also got an anatomy center as well. So this is almost like adjacent to the medical school building. And this is where students focus on their practical, because we believe it's so important that students are taught through doing, and obviously through practical and clinical experience. And this is where students get some of their practical exposure. So this is where you learn through cadaveric dissection, learning specifically anatomy in these areas. So it's, you know, it's really important for your education in this respect. So, for those of you that aren't aware, so Malta, which is based near Italy, some of you may be more familiar with Italy. So Malta is based fairly close to Italy, and it's made up of two islands. So one larger island, which is the main island of Malta, which is just on the right-hand side. By here, you can see Malta International Airport. And then we've also got Gozo. So Gozo is the smaller Maltese island, and that's where we're based. We're based in the center of Gozo. If you can just see on the left-hand side by Victoria, and then H for hospital by there. So again, I'll go through this later on, but there's a 24-hour ferry that goes between the two islands. So it's a very well-connected set of islands. So just to talk about a bit about the course structure. So ultimately, this course in Malta is designed for you to become a safe foundation year doctor. Okay, it's identical to the course that's already delivered in London. So some of you may be aware that Queen Mary or Barts in the London has two courses. So it's got the London MBBS course that has run for many years, and we've also got the Malta course now. So it's identical in course content, the same clinical, early in-depth clinical experience, problem-based learning. And for those of you that aren't aware, problem-based learning is a teaching model that's quite commonly used in medical education. So it's where you're in small group work. So you kind of forget the larger lecture theatres and being, you know, taught by the lecturer. Instead, you're in small groups, and it's more collaborative with your peers and a lecturer, rather than being, you know, almost like talked to by someone. I mentioned as well the lab practical sessions in the anatomy centre, and an opportunity to intercalate and do a intercalation degree in London. So, you know, if you have studied in London, you decide that you wanted to go back for a year, then, you know, it's definitely something worth considering. So the MBBS UK MBBS course is split into 3 phases. So it's a 5-year program split over 3 phases. So phase 1, so that's years 1 and 2. So this will build upon what you've learned in the University Foundation program at David Game. So this is kind of bringing everyone up to speed. We'll have people that have done lots of different courses to get onto the MBBS program. So it's bringing everyone up to the same speed. So it'll be very much a refresh of what you've learned, and it's kind of really starting to focus it on cells, organs, and how kind of like it works in the body systems. And then following that, we've got phase 2, so years 3 and 4. So that's really focused on clinical. So just to give you an example, in this phase, it sort of works with 3 weeks in the medical school, 3 weeks on placement, and it works in that kind of 3 weeks alternation for most of the years 3 and 4. So you get the good exposure in health, but then you're also learning the theory as well. And then phase 3. So this is year 5. This is the final year of the MBBS course before you're ready to work as a foundation year doctor. So this is almost like an apprenticeship year. You're getting ready. You're learning exactly how the community and clinical placements works, practical skills, and really making sure that you're up to date with all of the theory to make sure you're ready to become, you know, a doctor of the future. So we also have these things called student selected components. So each student has 3 SSCs, or student selected components, each year. And these are based about what the student is interested in. So, you know, see them as, you might be more familiar with the term optional modules. So, you know, say you're interested in particular in the kidney, for example, you know, you can focus and take modules that are specific, you know, to that, or whether you want to get more insight experience into history taking or being on the ward and, you know, triaging, for example, then that is something that you can do as well. There's also the opportunity to undertake these in London as well. So again, many of our students, if they particularly, you know, are interested in the UK, would, you know, opt to take these in London or in the UK. So just a bit about student life, because I'm aware that, many students, aren't quite too sure what Malta is all about. So it's an incredibly safe island. So we have a really tight-knit community here. The students are a very, very important part of the university community and the community itself. And we really focus on personalized support, not only from other students and older students, but also from academic staff as well. And close mentoring with the hospital staff and clinicians is important for us too. And luckily, Malta also enjoys a low level of crime. So you can really focus on what really matters and don't have to worry, about, getting home at night or whatever. So student life in Gozo. So again, I appreciate that many of you may not be quite aware, but it's a brilliant island. It is small, but there's lots to do. It's very much kind of like that outdoor lifestyle. So there's diving underwater, there's kayaking, there's you're able to visit heritage sites, and there's also a really impressive cultural calendar here as well, because this island has amazing history. There's also more traditional facilities as well for traditional sports. So, for example, like squash, tennis, climbing, for example. And it's a perfect area for hiking, walking, and it's really good. Medicine is a difficult course. So having these other things to focus on are really, really important to be able to clear your mind and focus on other things. So I mentioned earlier, so it's a very well-connected island. So it's two islands, and we're based on the smaller islands of Gozo, but it's very well connected. So we have a ferry that goes back and forth 24 hours a day. The public transport here is very good as well. And our student accommodation, which I'll speak on the next few slides, we have student accommodation transport that goes back and forth like a shuttle service, because the student accommodation is around 4 kilometers away from the main campus. But don't worry about this, because as I said, there is the shuttle service that goes back and forth. So clubs and societies. So you may be more familiar with the term the Students' Union. So the Gozo Society is essentially our Students' Union. So this is a students-led organization. So it really focuses on not only student experience, but it also makes sure that the students' opinions and the students' feedback is heard to academic staff, and also run events and activities to ensure that everyone is included. So as I mentioned before, the university accommodation. So this is around 4 kilometers away from the main university campus, but there is a shuttle bus, as I said. So our university accommodation, you can see a picture of it just down on the bottom by here. The students share their accommodation with 3 people. So they have 3 bedrooms. One of them have an ensuite room, and 2 have an additional external bathroom within that flat, if that makes sense. So one has the ensuite bedroom, and the other 2 share the bathroom within the flat. You also share a living space and a kitchen area, and also utilities room as well. And also, electricity, water, and utilities are all included in the price of the accommodation. We also have a communal swimming pool, which particularly in summer is great if you just want to relax, or you particularly enjoy swimming. And then there is a few local supermarkets near the accommodation for small amenities. However, the biggest supermarkets are nearer the medical school. So many of our students will pick up what they need when they're in for their lectures, and then we'll get the smaller items when they're near their accommodation. And it's only 400 meters away from the seafront, so it's really, really not too far at all. Okay, so importantly, applying for the MBBS Malta program. So, following the University Foundation Program Medicine Pathway at David Game, we will accept your application at the MBBS Malta program. So you will apply whilst you're in your your latter stages of the medicine pathway. So we will be looking for you to be undertaking chemistry or biology and another science, and then a third module as well. And then we'd also look for you to be have an IELTS score of 7 overall. So we don't look at the individual IELTS scores, we just look at an overall score of 7. We also look at the UCAT. So we are looking at an overall score of 2291. So with the UCAT, and I kind of don't want to stress you out at this stage, so please just kind of see, if you're not too familiar with the UCAT, please just kind of see this as an introduction for more research later on. But the UCAT is an aptitude test that many medical schools will ask for. So with the UCAT, you can take the exam in around October time or around June or July time. So we accept your application without UCAT if you want to take it in the June or July sitting, or alternatively, we will accept it from your October sitting, and we would give you the option to retake it in the June or July sitting if you don't meet the minimum requirement that we're looking for. And then finally, all students must be at least 18 years old at the start of the course in the September of enrollment. So just a bit about the application and fees. So again, don't worry about this too much for the moment, but this kind of just gives you a rough idea that we open up applications in November of each year. We have direct applications, and it's not kind of like via the UCAS university system. Our interviews, and let me go through this in a bit more detail now. So our interviews are all through Zoom. So Zoom, the online platform. So you don't have to come to Malta, you don't have to come to London. It's all via Zoom, and our interviews are panel based. So it'll be yourself along with 2 of our academic members of staff. And in the interviews, we're really looking for your motivations for wanting to study medicine. We're looking that you've got a good understanding of what medicine involves, that you're realistic, and you've got realistic expectations of medicine. We're looking for you to have done some work experience, whether that's in person or online. We appreciate, for this year and for next year, and who knows, even the year after, lots of our students will have their work experience online. It won't be as easy to get work experience in a hospital or a GP placement or whatever. We'd also look for you to have something, a little bit like volunteering or something that you do outside of the classroom. And then finally, we would also kind of be looking for you to be aware of a bit about our course. So why you're specifically applying to this course, what you know about our teaching style, what you know about Malta in particular as well. So I know it does sound a bit overwhelming with me just kind of giving you all of that information like that, but there is more information on our website. We go into detail of what our interviews kind of cover, because we want to see the best out of our students rather than kind of catch them out. And then our university fees for all students, so we don't have student number caps based on where a student is from. So UK, EU and international students all pay the same fees. So the fees for this intake is 23,500 euros. Okay, but as I said, please do check out our website, as it has more information about our interview process as well. So just a few final key points, and then I'll just talk very briefly about what our students do after this program. So this course is taught on the beautiful Mediterranean islands of Malta and Gozo. Students are awarded a UK Medicine MBBS, so it's awarded from the UK University, Queen Mary University of London, and specifically Barts and the London School of Medicine and Dentistry. So there's no mention of Malta on the certificate. The program is obviously taught in English, and that's why the IELTS on entry is important. You apply directly to us. We are looking for a personal statement as well. It's a panel-based interview via Zoom, so it's yourself with two of our academic members of staff. We have a really strong student support network here and a really close-knit community. It's taught through the problem-based learning (PBL) kind of method, and we find early clinical exposure really important. So finally, my final slide. So what are our students hoping to do after graduation? So as I said before, students will be awarded with an MBBS from Queen Mary University of London, which is a UK degree, and there will be junior doctor positions available in Malta and the UK. So should students wish to return to the UK or go to the UK for their foundation program, then this is possible. So this course will provide you with the eligibility in order to do that. However, you would still need to apply for a visa, and obviously 5 years away, it really, in terms of UK immigration, things can change. So definitely, keep an eye on your own situation and how you would go about applying for, a working visa in the UK for this position. So that's it from me. I hope I haven't given you too much information there, but it just gives you an introduction into our Malta program where you can progress after the University Foundation program. I've put my email address on there. Do feel free to get in contact with me. I'll stop sharing now and I'll pass back over to Danny. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Thanks, Harry. Thanks for that presentation. That was really informative, and I particularly like the look of the swimming pool and the clear blue sea there. Great. So we've had some questions come in now. So there's one that's asking about how is the Medicine Foundation course different to A levels? So I think if I take that one, so one of the main differences is the amount of time that it takes. So the UFP medicine pathway is a 1-year program, and the students take 3 major modules during that year. So we do biology, chemistry, and a third module such as maths or quantitative methods, which is essentially statistics or psychology. And as Harry said, those are the grades that you have to achieve, the A, and B. Those are the modules that you need to achieve A, B to be eligible to apply for Queen Mary Malta. So we also have this additional module called Medical Sciences for our medicine pathway. And there we look at things like recent current events and hot topics that are affecting the world of medicine. We help you to understand things like what's the General Medical Council and what do they require for a good doctor. And we give lots of one-on-one help for personal statements because it's a part that we find students find quite tricky, writing this concise one side of A4 about everything that's amazing about them, what makes them stand out. So we spend quite a lot of time with you helping to get that just right. And one other thing, as Harry mentioned, you need to understand your motivation. Why do you want to become a doctor? Because obviously not just enough to say, because I really do, because I really wanted to for ages. You need to be able to verbalize and understand why you want to follow this path. So again, we just help you work through all of those paths and point you in the right direction. Okay, so what other question we got in here? So I have got an A in, if I get an A in biology and an A in maths, but only a B in chemistry. Okay, so this is for GCSEs. Will you accept me? So for the UFP foundation course, we would accept you onto our course, and then, as I mentioned before, you would have to get A, B in the major modules. But over to Harry, I'll just get your input on that. If that was their GCSE score, and then let's say they achieved the necessary grades in the UFP, how do you stand on that?
So we would only look at for the academic requirements, we'd only look at the UFP. So we wouldn't look at your previous kind of education qualifications. So all we're interested in is the UFP, the IELTS, UCAT, and the age. So we wouldn't look at GCSEs.
Okay, lovely. Okay, do you help with my application and how do I apply? So Harry mentioned that the application was direct, so you apply directly to Queen Mary Malta. From our point of view, yes, we do help you. We help you every step of the way. So sometimes people can find it a bit overwhelming, the number of forms and the things that you need to upload. So it's an online form, is that right?
Yeah, that's
Harry?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll help you, like I said, get your personal statement ready and uploading that, and we help you navigate the visa process as well. And in terms of contacting your admissions team, Harry, what's the best
Yeah.
thing for students to do?
So they're welcome to contact me directly, or I can share the admissions team kind of email address with you guys if you're able to share that after the presentation.
Okay, super. We'll put those things up in the chat box,
Sounds good.
and give you the opportunity to take a note of that. Okay, so if I study the medicine pathway, do I have to study medicine, or can I choose other degree courses? So you can go on to study medicine if you study at the UFP medicine pathway, but of course you are able to change your mind and go on to study a range of other degrees courses at various UK universities as well. So some of our students would choose biomedical sciences or neuroscience, pharmacy, those kind of courses. Yeah, okay. What other one have we got here? Let's have a look. How many hours of study? So I presume that means, well, I guess we can both answer that. So I'll answer for the UFP first, and then hand over to you, Harry. So how many hours of study do we have at the UFP Medicine Foundation? So in the first term, so I said it's a year's program. So in the first term, the first 3 months, we do 22 hours, up to 22 hours, perhaps a little bit more, of in-class lessons, and we expect you to do homework and coursework as well as part of that. So it's 22 hours in class, more or less, plus extra time that you need to be studying at home. And then in terms 2 and 3, which then runs for another 6 months or so, then it's up to 24 hours in class. And again, there will be more home study, lots of homework and coursework. So it kind of gives you good preparation for the amount of work that's required for medical school. So I'll pass that same question over to you then, Harry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no problem. So I'm just going to kind of share my screen just to give you an idea. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Good.
so this is kind of like our block timetable. So year one is this one by here. So we students are expected to kind of be in every day, and we'll have quite multiple sessions per day. So in the kind of first year, within the first few weeks, I'm not sure you can see this. So up till around November time, this is where you have the fundamentals of medicine. And then there's more focus then on specific areas of medicine then later on, kind of in the first year. So it's a really heavy intensive course with exams as well, and then you can see it gets even more kind of complex and busy as you kind of go through into year 3, 4 and 5. So yeah, the University Foundation program will definitely prepare you for the real in-depth and difficult and often very time consuming intense study that you kind of require for medicine. So it's a great program.
Great, lovely. And we've got somebody asking, I really want to apply for Queen Mary Malta. How can I stand out?
Oh, it's a very good question. um, so for us, the most important part is the interview. So as long as you in your initial application you make sure that you are meeting our minimum requirements, then you'll be able to progress onto the interview. So for us, make sure you try and stand out in the interview. That you again, using the things that I've said before, that you know why you want to be a doctor. You're aware of the realities of medicine. You've done some kind of work experience. You've got kind of you're aware and able to kind of self-reflect. So typically will ask you kind of what qualities do you think a doctor should have, and then link that to yourself. So it's really important to have that kind of self-reflection and awareness. And yeah, that's finally it. But yeah, just make sure you focus on the interview, because the interview is the most important part for us, where you can really stand out.
Lovely. Okay. So thanks ever so much for joining us today, Harry. That was a really, really useful webinar, I think.
No problem.
And thank you to everyone, all of the attendees, for joining us today. So in the chat box, we'll put a link to our future webinar pages. So we'll have a webinar, I think it's next week, and that's just going to focus on the UFP medicine pathways. We'll tell you all about the things that we do, how we help you to prepare for the interview, and all the other parts that we cover in the medicine pathway. And we'll also, I think our admissions, that's right, in the chat box, our admissions email is already there. If you've got any questions about our academic requirements, then drop them a line and they'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.